The rain fell in merciless sheets that night, pounding against the cold marble walls of the Khan mansion, a place that once felt like home to Aisha but now felt like a prison. She stood in the grand hall, trembling not from the cold, but from humiliation. Her in-laws, those who had once welcomed her with smiles and promises, now surrounded her like predators scenting blood. "You thought you were better than us because of your money, didn't you?" hissed her mother-in-law, her voice laced with venom. "You think your billionaire father can buy respect? Here, we teach lessons differently." Aisha clutched the edge of her dupatta, eyes wide with disbelief. "Ammi, please. I've done nothing wrong." "Nothing wrong?" Her husband, Saad, laughed cruelly. "You humiliated me in front of my friends. Refusing to serve them tea? Who do you think you are?" "I wasn't feeling well," Aisha whispered. "I told you I had a fever." Before she could finish, her mother-in-law snatched her dupatta away, throwing it on the ground. The room went silent except for the crackle of the fire in the corner. "Now everyone will see what kind of respectable girl your rich father raised," the older woman spat. They tore at her dignity, word by word, gesture by gesture, until all that remained was her shattered self-respect. Aisha fell to her knees, tears mingling with the marble floor beneath her. In that moment, she realized something deep and cutting: love had turned to hate, and family had turned into tormentors. When it was over, she grabbed her torn shawl and ran, barefoot into the rain, heart pounding, face burning with humiliation. She didn't know where her steps were leading her. The world blurred around her, the city lights smearing into ribbons of gold and red. She only stopped when she reached the old stone gates of her father's mansion. Her father, Malik Ibrahim, the man the world called a billionaire, opened the door himself. And when he saw his daughter, soaked, broken, and trembling, his heart split in two. "Aisha," his voice cracked. He wrapped his coat around her shoulders, shielding her from the storm. "Who did this to you?" That night, she told him everything. Every insult. Every cruel whisper. Every act of betrayal. She told him about the night Saad came home drunk and threw her phone against the wall because she refused to transfer money to his account. About the time her mother-in-law called her a useless showpiece unfit for their middle-class dignity. About how she had kept quiet, believing love could fix what hate had begun. Not be why the time she finished, her father's eyes were wet, but not from sorrow. From rage. "They stripped you of your dignity," he said quietly. "But they forget who they were dealing with." The next morning, Malik Ibrahim called a press conference. Cameras, reporters, and flashes filled the air. The nation had long known him as a business tycoon, a man who built empires out of dust. But that day, he wasn't a tycoon, he was a father seeking justice. "My daughter, Aisha Ibrahim, was humiliated by her husband's family," he said, voice steady but burning. "They thought they could break her spirit because she chose to live with humility, not pride. Today, I will show them what true retribution looks like, not through revenge, but through truth." Within hours, news channels exploded. Videos, evidence, and testimonies surfaced, carefully collected by Malik's private team. The Khan's business, small but once respected, was tied to illegal dealings and money laundering. Contracts they had hidden under Saad's name surfaced like poison in clear water. Malik didn't need to ruin them, he simply revealed who they truly were. Saad's father was arrested within days. Their accounts frozen. Their mansion, the very one where Aisha had been humiliated, was seized by the authorities. And as the world watched, Malik Ibrahim made one final move. He invited the Khans to a charity gala he hosted every year. They came, desperate and humiliated, hoping to beg forgiveness. As they entered, the same hall that once echoed with Aisha's cries now glittered with chandeliers and music. Aisha stood on the stage, dressed in white, serene, confident, and radiant. When she began to speak, her voice didn't shake. "I was taught to forgive," she said, looking directly at them. "But forgiveness doesn't mean silence. Silence allows cruelty to survive. I want every woman listening to me to remember this: your worth isn't measured by how much you endure. It's measured by how much you rise after being broken." The hall fell silent. Even her in-laws bowed their heads, unable to meet her gaze. When she stepped down, her father took her hand. You didn't need me to fight for you, he whispered. You just needed to remember who you are. Months passed. Aisha didn't return to her old life, nor did she hide from it. She began a foundation to support women suffering from domestic and emotional abuse. Her story spread like wildfire, not as a tale of revenge, but of rebirth. She became a symbol of dignity reclaimed, of silence shattered. And one afternoon, as she looked out from her office window at the sun glittering across the city skyline, she smiled faintly. Her phone buzzed. It was Saad. She hesitated, then answered. I'm sorry, he said, his voice hollow. I lost everything. No, she replied softly. You didn't lose it, you gave it away when you lost your humanity. She hung up, setting the phone aside. Then she turned back to her desk, where dozens of letters from women like her waited to be read. Later that evening, her father joined her on the terrace, watching the sun dip below the horizon. Proud of you, he said simply. Aisha smiled. I'm proud too, but not of revenge, Abba. I'm proud I didn't let them define me. He nodded, eyes misty. You didn't just reclaim your dignity, Aisha. You reclaimed your name. And in that moment, as the last rays of sunlight painted the sky in gold and crimson, she finally felt free. The world often says that money brings power, but that night, Aisha proved something far greater, that truth, dignity, and courage can silence even the loudest cruelty. She was once the girl who ran into the rain, broken and stripped of pride. Now, she walked through storms with her head held high, untouchable, unstoppable, and unforgettable. Because sometimes, retribution isn't about revenge. It's about rising so high that those who try to destroy you have to lift their eyes just to see your light. And Aisha's light, once dimmed by shame, now burned bright enough to guide countless others out of their own darkness.